all out working immediately after the storm, and then the very next day is when we really kicked off all the crews. With the amount of damage, destruction, and the amount of roads we had to open, you know, we did the best we could with our manpower, but you know, the homeowners had to come out and assist us. We just couldn't get to every road. One of the biggest things was, you know, feeding our guys, you know, keeping them able to do the work. And we received donations from different individuals who, you know, lost power, couldn't keep their freezers going, and we had housewives, we had other family members of guys that worked that would come to our barn site, and we had a few of them set up where they would cook. They would cook, they would even wash the guys' clothes. You know, it didn't matter if it was our guys, electrical workers, yeah, anybody that had any means of helping out, they were out helping us. Everybody had a goal in mind, and that was just to try to get back to what we were as best as we could. And it just brought out the best in people.
You come here and people will always say, well, there's something very different about this school. There's something really phenomenal. And I think it's that blend of that St. Bernard culture and that St. Tammany culture coming together and sharing and strengthening those similarities that focus on family, that focus on very, very family-oriented value systems. These students like to be here. There is a sense of when something happens to one student, the students gather around them. It's all about family. It's about coming together. And I always tell my new parents is that like any other family, you're gonna fight. But like any other family, when trouble comes, we're there to support each other. And I think a lot of that has to do with this incredible blend of, you know, St. Bernard and St. Tammany coming together and creating Archbishop Hannon High School now. And its roots are in Miro. And like anything else, it's just like anything else post-Katrina, it's grown and it's come into its own. And I'm very proud to be a part of it.
When we first reached the property after the storm, which was, took us about 3 days to get here, trees were everywhere. The thought of how do you clean up was there in my mind, but you blanked it out because there was just so much else to do. When it finally sunk in then now we have to clean up. How do we do it? How do we get these gigantic trees off and cut? And there's no means. There was no one around that had the machinery or the equipment to be able to do it. You were waiting for people. You heard of people, you know, getting someone or having someone come do it, but I was just at awe about it. I came almost every day because I didn't have electricity here, so it was not that I could stay here. So I came every day, looked around the property thinking, okay, you're not going to go away by yourself, but I don't know what to do right now. A Sunday came and I didn't come. I went to church and I didn't come out here. So then Monday, when I came out, I drove out, and when I reached the driveway, it was like, oh my gosh, it's clean. Oh my gosh, the trees are gone. They were cut up and they were stacked, and I got to my door and there was a note in the door, and it was the Church of the Cove from Townsend, Tennessee. Mr. Robert Carnes had come and they had cut all the trees and cleaned up. We had rented cabins from him in Townsend, Tennessee for several years, and he had our address. He knew that we must have been in distress. They were coming to this area as a church and based themselves in Folsom at the Baptist church there, found our address, came, and they had cut the trees. It was just a blessing that what they had done for me. It just was a tremendous, tremendous lift for me to have that done, and for them to come to do that for me. And not just for me, but for the community. They did it for a lot of people.
Once we heard the hurricane had come through, we just called a meeting and we just sat around brainstorming, well, how can we help these people? And first thing was said, let's send some crews down. There's just a lot of people in need. So we, at that meeting, actually started signing people up. So, but the primary motivation was, hey, let's help these people out. I mean, I think sometimes these tragedies bring out the best of us, you know, and I think that's what this did. We were expecting to stay in the woods or in a yard somewhere, just connect with someone, and I think our first wave, we had over 25 people in that first wave with us, and every one of us, we went to rough it out. I mean, we expected the worst, so we prepared, and but boy, it was a blessing once we got down there. We at least were able to stay in a building. We hadn't even set up, and we saw a lot of people, you know, desperate, like, what are we going to do? We don't know what to do, and so we saw a community, though. They were pulling together. There was it was a neat little area there that just continued. You could tell that everybody knew everyone, it seemed like, and everybody was willing. I think everyone set agendas to the side and thought of each other and helped out each other regardless of seemed like the town was just coming together. I noticed it brought them closer. Miss Debbie, she stayed in cabins here prior to Katrina. And you know, what's the odds of us coming down and cleaning up her yard and getting the trees off her house and then Richard leaving a card. I haven't been back, and we haven't sent any crews back down to that area, but like I said, we have had through the last 10 years quite a few people from that area that we left cards, and they knew that Church of the Cove helped out in that area with some teams, and they come to this area and they look us up. Katrina, us going down there helped shape our mission church. You know, after Katrina, it was never the same. Our missions were reshaped because of Katrina. People caught the vision of helping people and saw the desperation in people's eyes, and it's definitely helped shape who we are. But we're hoping in a way we were able to help someone else.
I knew that he had a chainsaw, and I knew that he was helping people. I said, do you think you could come help me cut my trees? And he said, well, I don't really do that for a living, but I'll come help you, like, when I can. Well, he came every single day.
and she actually helped, you know, during the process. She'd come home every day, you know, and she was bringing me tea or something, water to drink, you know, because like I said, it was so hot. And she worked side by side with me. And that really impressed me, just to, you know, see her out there. And I told her, you don't have to do this. No, I don't mind helping, you know. So she was right there side by side. And it was kind of funny because all along she'd asked me what I was going to charge her to do this. And this was probably the funniest thing. We'd been working together, I don't know how long.
But I think it took us about 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks,
yeah.
I'd say, something like that. And it was a job, it really was. She had some whopper trees. And finally, we sat down there one day and we're sweating, full of sawdust and pine limbs and everything. And I said, well, I finally came out with a sum that I want to charge you for your trees. And boy, she's, you know, looking at me like that. I said, let me take you out to dinner and we'll call it even. She's like, okay. You know,
so I'm going out with this guy one time, trees are cut, that's it.
That's it, you know. Working together, and that first date impressed me a little bit, and it was a second date, and then, you know, things kind of grew from there. I think the storm definitely had, you know, had an impact on us meeting and our, you know, pulling us together like it did. And I'm kind of a firm believer that the good Lord don't close one door, losing my mother, without opening another. And you never know, you know, sometimes when something bad happens to a person and they're kind of in a down mood and everything, you just got to keep your faith and look for something good to happen. And I lost somebody I loved and gained somebody else.